AITA for exposing my cousin's double engagement and accidentally becoming a local celebrity. I didn't mean to blow up Christmas, but I also kinda did. Hi Reddit. You probably know who I am, even if you don't realize it. I'm Liz25F, the cousin from that story. You know the viral Christmas engagement meltdown where a ceramic Santa got weaponized? A woman said yes to 2 proposals, and my Uncle Pete almost got his own Netflix deal. Yeah, that was my family, and I was the one who started the whole thing. By accident, sort of. Let's rewind to last December. My cousin Tom, who I genuinely adore, had been planning to propose to his girlfriend, Jenna, for months. We all knew. The ring had been selected with the kind of care usually reserved for royal jewels. He practiced his speech with me in the mirror. He even asked both families for blessing. Old school, but sweet. Anyway, Christmas dinner was happening at his parents' place. Everyone was there. Jenna's family, ours, some extended folks, and of course, Uncle Pete, who showed up in a sweater that said, "Slay all day," and brought his infamous bourbon eggnog that tastes like regret and warm gasoline. Things were festive. Jenna looked amazing. Tom was sweating like he was hiding state secrets. Then came the moment. Tom stood up during dessert, peppermint bark and too much pie, and made a speech. It was beautiful, tear-jerking. Even Grandma wiped away a sniffle. Then he dropped to one knee. Jenna gasped, said yes. Everyone clapped. Cameras flashed. Aunt Susan was already uploading blurry iPhone pics with the caption, "She said yes." And that, my friends, is where I ruined Christmas, because about 90 seconds after the proposal, Jenna's phone buzzed, loudly, like 3 times in a row. It lit up face up on the table, and curiosity got the better of me. I leaned over and saw the message preview. "Ryan, I can't believe you said yes." My brain short-circuited, because Ryan was Jenna's ex, who she definitely wasn't supposed to be talking to, much less proposing to, which is what that message heavily implied had happened. I did what any nosy, impulsive, semi-drunk 25-year-old would do. I picked up the phone and said, why is your ex texting you about your engagement?" The room froze, and then exploded. Jenna went sheet white. Tom's face crumbled. Her mom shrieked. Ryan showed up. Pete got knocked out by a ceramic Santa. There was wine on the drapes. Someone called the cops. It was like Succession meets National Lampoon's Family Christmas. I didn't mean to start a war. I swear I didn't. But I don't regret it, because Jenna was engaged to 2 people. She admitted it later. Said she didn't know how to choose. Said yes to both. Was planning to sort it out after the holidays. Tom was devastated. Ryan punched a wall. I posted a TikTok recap later because I coped through content, and it went viral. Like, 2.3 million views in 48 hours viral. And suddenly, I was the villain. Or the hero. Depends on who you ask. The comments were wild. Liz did what needed to be done. She's messy but correct. This is giving chaotic neutral energy. My inbox blew up. People wanted more updates. My follower count tripled. Someone DM'd me asking if I'd host a podcast called Family Fallout, but behind the scenes, my family was pissed. Jenna blocked me. Her mom called me a vulture. My parents told me to stay out of other people's business. Pete, once he recovered, was the only one who supported me fully. Said, sometimes chaos is the only language people listen to, so I kept posting. I told the whole story in parts like a true crime docuseries. Dramatic reenactments, screenshots, narration over Christmas music. People ate it up, and somehow, weirdly, it helped. Tom messaged me 2 weeks later, said thank you, said he was embarrassed, heartbroken, but grateful he found out before it got worse. Ryan started posting vague breakup poetry. Jenna posted a Notes app apology that mysteriously disappeared 48 hours later, and Pete wrote a play about the whole thing, cast me as Jenna, called it Santa Strikes Back. Yes, I played her. Yes, it was cathartic. So, AITA for picking up that phone, for saying what I saw, for turning a moment of family implosion into a TikTok series that low-key built me a brand. TLDR. My cousin proposed on Christmas. His fiancée was also secretly engaged to her ex. I saw a suspicious text, called it out, and accidentally exposed everything. It went viral. Now I'm semi-internet famous, kinda hated, and definitely not invited to Jenna's baby shower. Updates incoming. Because this whole thing, far from over, I got cast as the girl who ruined Christmas, and suddenly I'm both the villain and the star. Okay, update time. Because apparently TikTok notoriety, a cousin's betrayal, and community theater infamy weren't enough, I had to go full method. So, here's what happened after Christmas exploded. Tom went full ghost mode. Jenna deleted her socials for a while. And I accidentally became a content creator. People wanted updates. Like bad. I'd post little storytime bits, 30-second breakdowns of each family member's reaction. Dramatic reenactments of Uncle Pete getting coded by a ceramic Santa. A timeline graphic titled The Two-Ring Circus. Each video did numbers. I got verified in 3 days. BuzzFeed reached out. BuzzFeed. The article title? Cousin Claus, the woman who unwrapped a Christmas scandal. Was it ridiculous? Yes. Did I love it? Also yes. But behind the scenes? Oof. Jenna's mom sent me a cease and desist letter written on glitter stationery. I wish I was kidding. It said I was using private family trauma for personal brand development and asked me to consider the sanctity of motherhood. I laughed. Then I cried. Then I screenshot it and redacted the names because I am petty, but I'm not a monster. My parents were torn. My mom said, "You always did love attention." My dad just muttered, "Don't bring this drama into my lawn." The only person 100% in my corner? Pete. Uncle Pete Saint, casualty playwright. After he recovered from the Santa smash, he invited me to lunch and said, "I'm writing a play. You're in it. You're playing Jenna." I choked on my club sandwich. He wasn't kidding. He wrote a 3-act script called Santa Strikes Back, a family tragedy in 3 acts and 1 fruitcake. I read it and laughed so hard I snorted eggnog. It was wild. Act I. The proposal. Act 2. The reveal. Act 3. The reckoning feat. A monologue about Pinterest boards and emotional cowardice. Pete said I brought authentic villain energy. I said, "You mean trauma with good lighting?" He said, "Exactly." We started rehearsals in his garage with folding chairs and my neighbor Joyce reading as Tom's mom. Ryan showed up randomly one day and ended up joining the cast. Jenna found out and texted me, "So now you're profiting off of impersonating me?" To which I replied, "Girl, I wish I was getting paid." She blocked me again. Anyway, the play. We opened to a sold-out crowd of 47 people at the community center. I wore a lavender dress. I did a dramatic mascara tear. I improvised the line, "I said yes to chaos because it was easier than choosing love," and the room gasped. People cried. After the show, someone hugged me and said, "You helped me process my divorce." Another person slid into my DMs and said, "This is what theater was meant to be." Jenna, still furious. She left a 1-star review on our Facebook page under the name Bree3 Lazoxo. It said, "Exploitative and narcissistic. Like if Glee and Maury had a baby and fed it nothing but resentment." Honestly, not wrong. But here's the thing. I don't regret it, because people need catharsis. They need to laugh. They need to scream WHAD the actual F in a safe space while a ceramic Santa gets smashed in Act 3. And yeah, I started as the nosy cousin. But now, I'm telling a story. Our story. The messy, unhinged, real as hell one. TLDR. I became TikTok famous for exposing my cousin's double engagement. Now I'm starring as her in a community theater play written by my concussed uncle. Jenna hates me. The audience loves me. And I think I've found my calling. Update coming. We're taking the show on the road. Liz is going on tour, baby. The tour started. Someone threw fruitcake at me, and I think I love it here. We went on tour. Let me rephrase that. We went on tour with Pete's play in a minivan named Santa One, with costumes stuffed in duffel bags and a glittered up ceramic Santa in the back seat wearing a seatbelt for spiritual reasons. First stop, a PTA benefit in the next town over. I showed up wearing my cast hoodie Team Chaos, Act DI, and immediately got recognized by someone in the parking lot who shouted, "You're the Christmas cousin." Yes, that is now my legacy. Inside, the venue was a high school gym converted into a stage with collapsible risers and a concession stand. Joyce, our stage mom, brought homemade brownies. Ryan warmed up by brooding in the corner like he was prepping for Macbeth. We opened to a packed crowd. Maybe 100 people? Standing room only. The curtain of bedsheet rose. The fog machine kicked in. Pete gave his curtain speech wearing a glitter scarf and said, "This is a story about truth, trauma, and seasonal lies." The audience went wild. Act I. Nailed it. Act 2. Electric. Act 3. Well, that's when it happened. Just as I launched into my final monologue as Brielle Jenna, some guy in the back threw a fruitcake at me. Not a full one, just a slice. But it hit. Square in the shoulder. Sticky, dense, pecan heavy. I froze. Everyone gasped. Then Pete, without missing a beat, walked on stage, picked up the fruitcake slice, held it aloft like Hamlet's skull, and said, Even the baked goods can't deny the truth. The crowd roared. Standing ovation. I bowed with fruitcake juice running down my arm. Was I humiliated? A little. But also thrilled. Because this means we're hitting. People are reacting. Feeling things. Even if it's in pastry form. After the show, the fruitcake thrower was escorted out by PTA security, a guy named Carl in khakis. Turns out he was Jenna's cousin. Claimed I disrespected the institution of Christmas engagements. Jenna posted a blurry IG story the next day. This is harassment disguised as art. Stop clapping for chaos. She tagged me, then untagged me. Classic. But get this, her story got picked up by a local blogger, which boosted ticket sales by 30% for our next show. So thanks, Jenna. Anyway, I've started journaling during the tour. Might turn this into a memoir. Working title: Fruitcake and Fallout. The girl who played her cousin on stage. I'm leaning in, owning it. Because sometimes the mess is the message. TLDR. First tour stop ended with a fruitcake being thrown at me during my monologue. I survived. Pete turned it into improv gold. Jenna's cousin got kicked out. Jenna rage posted, I'm thriving. Update soon from our next venue. A Unitarian church basement. The acoustics are apparently divine. We performed in a church basement. I had a breakdown in the coat closet. And now I might be famous for real, alright. Time for another peek into the glittery chaos that is my life. Our next stop on the Santa Strikes Back tour was a Unitarian church basement that somehow had better lighting than the community center and smelled like cinnamon, guilt, and old hymnals. The space was small, like intimate, which meant when you performed a breakup monologue about double engagements and emotional betrayal, you were making direct eye contact with Brenda from the bake sale. The audience? Mixed. Boomers, college students, a bachelorette party that clearly didn't know what they signed up for. One of them yelled, Yaz, therapy queen. During my second act, things were going well, until they weren't, because after the show, while Pete was signing autographs on glitter programs and Ryan was getting his picture taken like a sad indie movie poster, I snuck away and had a full-blown breakdown in the coat closet. I don't know what triggered it exactly. Maybe the claustrophobia. Maybe the fact that I caught myself genuinely feeling Jenna's lines. Maybe it was seeing Tom's actual little sister in the crowd, someone who hadn't spoken to me since Christmas, and watching her cry during Act 3. But I melted down, quiet sobbing, mascara tears, sitting between a fur-lined peacoat and a North Face that smelled like campfire trauma. Joyce found me, pulled me out, handed me a cup of cider and said, Fame hits hard. It's okay. And I realized something. This was no longer just content, or revenge, or even theater. This was my life. I was playing a version of Jenna, but somewhere along the way, I'd become the symbol of Jenna. And that was heavy. People DM me now saying, you helped me confront my messy past, or, watching you be hated online helped me forgive myself, or the weirdest one, are you available for birthday parties? I also got invited to a panel on the role of community art in modern healing. Me, Liz, the girl who narrated a double engagement scandal over lo-fi Christmas beats. So I guess what I'm saying is, I'm overwhelmed, but in a weirdly good way. We're prepping for our biggest venue yet next weekend, the Civic Center in my hometown. The same town where Jenna lives, where the Santa smash happened, where everything started. It's sold out. Jenna hasn't reached out. But Tom did. He sent me a one-line message. Break a leg, cousin. Just, don't break any more holidays. I cried again, but in a good way this time. TLDR. We performed in a church basement. I had a mid-show meltdown in a coat closet. But I also realized this isn't just theater, it's my life now. Jenna still isn't talking to me. Tom is. I might be famous. And I'm scared, but also kind of ready. Next update. Hometown show. Full circle. Emotional implosion incoming. Probably. We took the show back home. Jenna showed up, and I forgot my lines on purpose home. We took Santa Strikes Back to the Civic Center in my hometown. The same town where Jenna lives. The same building where she and Tom once slow danced at a cousin's wedding. Where Pete once sang karaoke dressed as Santa. Where the ceramic Santa that started it all is now on display in a case. With a plaque. Sold out show. Rows of folding chairs. Local news cameras. One lady had a sign that said, I drove 80 miles for fruitcake justice. I was nervous. No, terrified. Pete gave a pre-show speech about forgiveness and trauma. Joyce led a group grounding exercise backstage. Ryan silently chewed gum and stared into a mirror like he was about to face the Joker. And then I saw her, Jenna, Third row, aisle seat. Wearing a tan trench coat and a look I couldn't quite read. She didn't clap when Pete spoke. Didn't look at the program. Just sat, still, watching. Act I went smoothly. Laughs in all the right places. Act 2 Ryan's monologue landed like a punch to the gut. Some people gasped. Someone sobbed. Jenna didn't move. Then came Act 3. My moment. The final monologue. The speech Brielle gives where she owns up to her lies, her fear, her need to be chosen. I stepped forward. Lights down. Silence. And I froze. I looked at Jenna, and instead of saying my lines, I said, I don't have the right words. Because the truth is, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't want to hurt anyone. I just wanted to feel wanted. But I know now that wanting something doesn't make it right. And I'm sorry. People thought it was improv, theater magic, but it was real. That wasn't the script. That was me. I finished the show, bowed, curtain closed. My legs were shaking. Backstage, people were hugging, crying. Pete handed me a towel like I'd just run a marathon. And then someone said, Jenna's at the stage door. I walked out. She was there, alone. She didn't yell, didn't cry, just looked at me and said, thanks for not making me the villain. I said, you never were. We just didn't know how to be honest with each other. She nodded, then hugged me. That's it. No grand speech, no viral video. Just 2 girls holding a hug too long under a flickering streetlight. We're not best friends now. We haven't texted since, but I think we're okay. And maybe that's enough. TL. Took the show back to our hometown. Jenna came. I went off script. She waited after the show. We talked. We hugged. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel like a fraud playing a villain. I felt like a person. Update coming our final show. And what happens when the curtain really closes? Our final curtain fell. Someone threw confetti, and I finally know who I am. This is it. The last update. The final show. The last bow. We performed Santa Strikes Back one final time, this time for charity. A fundraiser for a crisis center. Pete said it was fitting that our chaotic, wine-soaked family play would help other people pick up their own pieces. It was held in a real theater this time. A stage with curtains, stage lights, a working fog machine that didn't smell like burnt cinnamon. The house was full. Press, fans, former high school teachers. That one girl who used to bully me in middle school. She came up after the show and said, you were incredible. I said, thanks. Your eyeliner's still uneven. Ryan wore a vest. Joyce had rhinestones on her eyebrows. Pete cried during warm-ups. Twice. We did the show, word for word, except this time, it wasn't just performance. It felt like exorcism. I gave my final monologue, the real one, and halfway through, I noticed someone in the 3rd row standing. Then another. Then the whole front row. It became a standing ovation before we finished. People clapped through tears. Someone threw biodegradable confetti. A kid in the audience shouted, Santa Strikes Forever. After the show, we sat on stage. No curtain call, just the cast, talking to the crowd like a weird emotional TED Talk. I told them what I'd learned, that it's okay to be messy, to be wrong, that sometimes you need to live your villain arc to find your truth, that no one's just one story. People lined up to talk, to hug us, to tell us what our story helped them understand about theirs. And I realized, I'm not Jenna. I never was. But playing her helped me forgive her, and forgive myself. I'm applying to MFA programs now. Theater, storytelling, something real. I'm starting a podcast called Scene of the Holiday, interviews with people who've had their own seasonal emotional disasters. Pete gave me the original script. He framed it. There's a fruitcake stain on page 12. Jenna sent flowers. The card said, Merry Christmas, and thank you. So, TLDR. We finished the play. It mattered. It helped people. It helped me. I'm not the girl who picked up a phone and blew up a family anymore. I'm someone who told the truth even if I had to do it on a stage. Thanks for following this. And if your family holiday ever melts down, call me. I'll bring the glitter. Liz out. If you like these stories and videos, make sure to like, comment, and share so we can make some money from ad revenue and continue getting better and better with our publications. We strive to donate a portion of everything we make to charities that make a difference. Let us know if there is someone or thing you want to support. Thank you for staying until the end and enjoying the story.